On July 31, 2021, the Tennessee State Park Ranger Museum opened its doors and held its first open house. Dozens of Tennessee State Park alumni were welcomed to the museum for the first homecoming to showcase the history they all have shared. The Tennessee State Park Ranger Museum is dedicated to the men and women who have worn the uniform and blazed the first trails of the park system. In addition to those who have donned the badge, the museum is dedicated to those in administrative, interpretive, and maintenance roles. The museum is housed in the Tennessee State Park Chief Ranger's office. Prior to being converted into the current Ranger Museum, the structure was a ranger, manager, and chief ranger's residence, where many state park rangers not only oversaw the park and its duties, but raised their families. One room inside the museum brings into play the more modern history of the park ranger in the way of the special operations teams that are overseen by the Chief Ranger's office. The museum has dedicated exhibits documenting the Tennessee State Park rope rescue teams and some of their rope training knots and techniques. A space can be found in the museum dedicated to medical training expected and encouraged for a Tennessee State Park Ranger. This training is vital in day-to-day obligations for the safety of park visitors. Chief Ranger Shane Petty provided the museum with walls of ranger photos taken from trainings, normal day-to-day activities, and police academy graduations, which are a passing of the bar for all law enforcement officers in Tennessee. Within the museum are photos dating back to the CCC, otherwise known as the Civilian Conservation Corps. This program was integral to the creation of some of our first and well-loved parks. Utilizing the massive amount of skilled labor that was unemployed during the 1930s, such parks as Cedars of Lebanon, Standing Stone, and Pickett were created. The museum documents the various firearms and other tools carried by park rangers and how they have evolved throughout the years. Much of the early ranger training in the park system was developed by former director and chief ranger Bill Boswell. Much of the literature, documents, and photos are from former Chief Ranger Boswell's collection. Mr. Boswell left behind the first park standards, rules, regulations, and his dream to make the Tennessee State Park Rangers the best trained in the country. As seen here is a well-documented display of a Tennessee State Park Ranger's horse-mounted uniform. To be a horse-mounted ranger is a highly prestigious role that requires equine skill, countless hours of training, and a fierce dedication. The various uniforms worn by rangers throughout the years are on display in the museum, many of which were donated by former rangers themselves. The evolution of the uniform, badge, and emblems representing the Tennessee State Park Agency are also on display. The museum was designed to preserve and protect the history of Tennessee State Park Rangers and the tools of their trade. As a service project, every newly hired ranger aids Chief Petty in contributing some type of enhancement to the Ranger Museum.